Every year in the NFL, it's a new team. As far as goals go, we have one. Putting a f***ing ring on our finger.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
I'm Molly Bay.
Today is the day we go to the NFC Championship.
Yes, one step closer to that chance at a ring.
One step closer to the edge. Yes, today is January 17th, 2021. We are playing the New Orleans Saints in a couple of hours. Going to show them who is boss. Who is boss? We've got a good show for you today. We're going to try and make it quick. We know we got this one out late. We had electrical problems. Our power was out for a large part of yesterday, so we were not able to do the podcast. And besides that, we're just slackers. You know, we were supposed to do it Friday, maybe even Thursday, whatever.
I know. It's been a whole process.
we have been so slack this year.
It's a process.
Yes. So we've got some fact checks and follow-ups for you. We're going to cover the Redskins game real quick, or the Washington football team real quick. And then we're going to do the Saints preview and tell you what we think is going to happen and what we hope is going to happen and blah, blah, blah. All right, Molly, you got fact checks and follow-ups for us?
I do. In the last episode, we talked about how the Buccaneers had not beat a team in under 35-degree weather. And then we beat what team? We thought maybe it was the Eagles. It was actually the Chicago Bears in 2002 in week 17. They went 4-12 that season, and it was the first game we had won in under 32-degree weather. We also asked where was Jason Witten currently playing, and it is indeed the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Raiders. So we talk about players who retire and then come back. This one's a fun one, and I actually have had to do a little bit of research on this one. Tom Brady has beaten 17 teams in the playoffs. So we were wondering what teams they were. Indeed, it does include the NFC teams that he beat in the Super Bowl, so that is 6 of those. He has beaten 11 AFC teams, including the Raiders, Steelers, Titans, Colts, Jags, Jets, Chargers, Broncos, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs. So those are all the AFC teams.
It probably would have been quicker to say the teams he didn't beat.
I know. I didn't figure those out. I guess I could real quick, but probably all the shitty teams, basically.
Yeah, the Browns, the Bills.
And then the NFC teams that he's beaten include the Rams, Panthers, Eagles, Seahawks, Falcons, and now the Washington football team. So Those are the 6 NFC teams.
There we go.
Not
the Giants.
No, not the Giants. This is Achilles' heel. So I even wouldn't necessarily want to see them in the playoffs, no matter how shitty they are, because I just feel like it's just one of those.
Yeah, it's a mental thing by now, probably.
Yeah, probably, yeah. We asked how long it had been since the Bills won a playoff game. It was 1995 was the last time. And, of course, now they've won 2 playoff games. They beat the Ravens last night.
Yeah.
Beat the snot out of them. You know, that's what sucked last night too, was that our power went out right when the Rams and the Packers were playing, so it came back on pretty much the end of that game. I think we saw the last touchdown where the Packers brought it to 32 points.
Yeah.
It was like completely out of reach for the Rams at that point.
Yeah, we didn't really even see the game. It was just like, by the time we got to it, it was garbage time. And then the power went out again later during the things. Yeah, transformer blew up in my neighbor's house. He texted me, and I didn't get the text until after the crew came out and fixed it. We saw they had 5 trucks out and everything.
Yeah,
so
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's amazing how cold it gets, too.
Man, it was freezing last night.
It was cold in our house.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the Saints, who, of course, last week with the Bears, they got into a fight, or one of their defensive players got punched by a Bears player. And so we were talking about that. Who got punched the first time is what we asked. And it was safety CJ Chauncey Gardner, who got punched by wide receiver Javen Wims in the first meeting. In the second meeting, it was wide receiver Anthony Miller punched none other than CJ Chauncey Gardner. So
he gets under people's skin.
Yeah, he's great at that. So BA actually talked about it this week that we need to keep a cool head. Yeah. Which I agree. Although I'm not opposed to one of our players getting ejected for punching somebody. We have so many wide receivers. We've got so much depth at
let Mike Evans go out there and beat up Lattimore or something.
I like it. Do it.
Yep.
We talked about Deontay Harris, how I thought I had heard that he had just come back from injury, and indeed he has. He was on injured reserve with a neck injury, which he was placed on in December, so he's fresh. In addition, Michael Thomas was on IR, and he's just come back for the playoffs. He played last week against the Bears, and so he's fresh as well. And then, of course, Drew Brees spent a little bit of time out on IR, but injured, so he's nice and rested for the playoffs. So there we go. The last follow-up and fact check I have, we weren't sure about JPP's interceptions, how many he's got. He does have 2. Not 3. I thought maybe it was 3. He had an almost interception that I was thinking counted, but it didn't. You got any follow-up or fact checks, Ralph?
No.
Okay, I'm done then. Whipped right through that one.
Yes. Okay, let's go through the Washington football teams, all 22 real quick. If you don't know, I got the things I found interesting videos up on YouTube, so go check them out if you haven't already. It was rather interesting. It took me a long time to get through it. There was a lot of notes. It wasn't until the fourth quarter where it actually became just, rote plays. So it was like almost every play before that had some notes to it. A couple things I do want to correct. I was totally wrong in that our defensive line did get pressure on the quarterback. Their offensive line was really, really good. Probably the best offensive line we played all year. They totally shut us down. They were good. It wasn't that we couldn't get a pass rush. I mean, we got a few that came through, but generally they just shut us down. They were good. Probably, like I said, the best offensive line we played all year. I had said that Barrett had dropped back into coverage 10 times. I counted, no, it was 7 times. Yeah. But still, he was basically a non-factor. JPP was a non-factor. I think he had 1 batted pass. Barrett had 1 or 2 good plays. I mean, for those guys, that's just unheard of. I mean, they're normally, they've got at least a handful of really good plays. But they were really shut down. Sue got decleated. It's the first time I've ever seen Sue get decleated. He was being blocked by the right guard, and the right tackle came over and hit him and took him off his feet and knocked him on his butt. That has never happened before that I've watched. It was the right guard had hands to the face with Sue, so Sue couldn't see the tackle coming over to get him, and I think it kind of caught him off guard. But still, Sue never gets knocked off his feet like that, but he did. Their offensive line was good, so I take back everything I said in our preview of the game and after the game. But still, we won, so whatever.
I recall seeing Sue on his knees at one point, like hands and knees, and it was the left side of the offensive line. I remember that during the broadcast, so I don't know if you remember that play or noticed it, but
I don't remember. Our offensive line, it was nowhere near as aggressive as it has been the past few weeks. And also, I want to bring up that we haven't been behind in 3 weeks. We have not. We've had the lead for 3 weeks, and we're going on. Let me see. We won 4 after the bye week, right? So we're on a 5-game win streak here. Mm-hmm. Quite impressive, if you ask me. Hopefully we'll go on a 8-game win streak, whatever it is. But 7. The offensive line was not near as aggressive as they have been the past few weeks. I mean, they were still pretty aggressive. They got a little chippy there, but not as much as they have been the past few weeks. That seemed like they were more focused on doing their job than they were beating people up. Yeah. Although they got some good ones in. Jensen got some in. Kappa did not play well when he was in. He got beat by a number of different guys. And then he got his ankle broke by Ali Marpet body slamming. I think it was Sweat. Can't remember who it was. He slammed him right on the Kappa's ankle. And you were telling me that Kappa, and watching the game film, I didn't even know it happened until the next play. Normally, when you see these guys get hurt, you'll see them lay on the ground or, writhe in pain, and you'll see other guys come over and start waving or whatever. But it didn't happen with Kappa, so I had no idea he was even hurt. Then the next play, I saw that Ted Larson had came in, and I was like, oh, so then I backed it up and watched it, and I was like, oh, that's when Kappa got hurt. But apparently Kappa didn't make any noise, didn't let anybody know. He walked off the sideline to the sideline. This was with a shattered ankle, and he wanted to come back in and play until they found out he couldn't put weight on his foot. But he was still trying to come back and play. He's a tough guy.
Yeah.
I love that. He was out there playing last year with a broken arm. That was crazy. I like him. But yeah, he was getting beat quite a bit to start the game. And Ted Larson came in, and like I said, I'm keeping with that. Ted Larson played good. He did get beat once, and then another time he got beat, but it wasn't really him getting beat. It was the design of the play. And this takes me back to the play action. Everybody's screaming, we need to do more play action. And I'm saying, look, play action is great. I love play action, but it's got its drawbacks. And this game was a perfect example of it. One of the sacks that Tom Brady got was on a play action. Now, when you do play action, a lot of times the offensive line has to sell run, because the linebackers and all these guys, they don't just look at where the ball's going. They look at what the offensive line is doing. And if they see the offensive line is going for a run blocking, then they'll come forward. Our offensive line went for run blocking. We crashed left on that play. We did play action to the left with the running back. And, I want to say it was Sweat or Payne, one of those two, who, they played real well. I think it was Payne. Our line crashed left. He went right. And, he wasn't following the blockers. Normally, the defensive line will go vertical down the line with the blockers. He didn't do that. He went left, and he got in between Wirfs and Kappa, and he was totally unblocked. Well, Brady had, he had to turn around to do the play action, and after he did the play action, he turns back around, and there's a defender unblocked right in his face. There's nothing Brady could have done, so he just tucked the ball and got sacked. That's the danger of play action. You've got your offensive line is not pass protecting. If somebody decides to not be fooled by the play action, they're just going to zip right through. And then Tom Brady can't see them until after he turns around. And that's exactly what happened. So, play action is not the end all be all. It's definitely a tool, but it's not the reason why we've lost. And it will not be the reason why we win.
Yeah. Just a slight correction. You said he went between Wirfs and Kappa.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Larson.
Wirfs and Larson, yeah. So, you could say it was Larson's fault, but it wasn't really Larson's fault, because in order for Larson to have blocked him, he would have had to stop his crash left. You could actually say it was more Wirfs' fault. So I don't know. I think Ted Larson did a good job for what he was in there, to be called in like that, and to never played with these guys before. I thought he did a really good job. I'm trying to zip through this because the game's getting ready to start here in a little bit. We want to get this podcast out just in case anybody wants to see what we have to say about the Saints game coming up.
Or so that we get some receipts.
So we can get some receipts, exactly. And plus, we did a lot of research on all this stuff, and, it's been sitting here for 2 days, and we're trying to get this podcast, and we haven't been able to do it. So we're like, okay, we got a little bit of time here. Let's do it. Okay. There was a couple of breakdowns in the secondary, but generally they played a pretty good job. The quarterback, he did a good job. What was his name? Heineke. Mm-hmm. He did a pretty good job, but you can't, if Brady and the receivers are in sync and the receivers catch the ball, you can't stop this offense. You can't do it. You can't do it. I don't care what you do. You can't cover each receiver with two guys, and even then it might not matter. Brady is placing these balls so perfectly, and I pointed it out in the Tiffy videos a little bit at how he's placing them so that they can even get yards after the catch. I mean, because there's plenty of times that they had great coverage on our guys, but you just couldn't. There was nothing they could do. So hopefully we'll keep that up. Their secondary played pretty good. They had a few breakdowns in coverage. We had a few breakdowns in coverage. Their quarterback was throwing some pretty decent balls, but not near as good as Brady. And their receivers dropped passes. Our receivers dropped passes. So that's why it was a closer game than it should have been. It just, everything. But the difference was Brady's pocket presence and accuracy. That was really the difference in this game. Their defensive line couldn't do much. Our run blocking was superb. I mean, we opened up some huge holes.
And they're a good run defense.
Yes, they're a good run defense. I was really surprised by that.
That makes me optimistic for the Saints game.
Yeah, we had some interesting schemes in the run game that opened some stuff up.
Were they new?
Yeah, we had some new blocking things. Their offensive line, the Washington's offensive line, basically they didn't do hardly any movement, man. I mean, it was just straightforward blocking on the run game and straightforward pass protection. There wasn't a whole lot of shifting, a whole lot of pulling of guards or tackles or nothing like that. They really played it simple, but it was effective, except in the run game. That's one thing I got to say. This defensive line did great in run stuffing. I mean, we just killed them in the run stuffing. And that was a big difference in the game, too. Fournette, he played excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent game. But he had a lot of help with the offensive line and the tight ends blocking as well. Let me see. In the fourth quarter, when it was really close, our defensive line stepped up. We got a 3-and-out. That was the only time where I could say, it was that whole – it looked like during the first half of the game, again, it looked like, our veterans were just kind of there, not really doing a whole lot. But in that one series when we needed to stop them coming out of the second half, or no, it was the fourth quarter, 13-32. Series started, we just dominated them, and with 3-and-out. And then we got the ball, scored a touchdown. That's when we started getting some separation from them. 99 Chase Young, yeah. Donovan Smith dominated him the whole game, but it wasn't just Donovan Smith. Gronkowski beat the mess out of him the whole game.
Oh, no, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, and it wasn't even just Gronkowski. Josh Wells blocked him effectively.
Okay.
Josh Wells, 73. I was like, what? Oh, right. Yeah, so Chase Young either is overrated or he just had a bad game. But, yeah, we just totally shut him down. I mean, with Josh Wells is blocking you. Gronkowski blocked him one-on-one like 5 times. What? And he got nowhere.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was interesting.
Well, I mean, to Gronk's credit, he's probably one of the best blocking tight ends in the league, but an elite defensive pass rusher should not be getting blocked by a tight end, no matter how good their run blocking is.
Yeah, Chase Young looked very frustrated and almost defeated, especially towards the end of the game. He was just kind of like there. Yeah.
Kind of a little big for his britches, maybe.
But I did notice in the fourth quarter, and I think somebody asked us about the quick passes.
No, that was the Atlanta game.
Okay. Well, in this game, when we come out in the fourth quarter and our defensive line started really getting some pressure on Heineke, they went to very quick passes for the next couple of series, trying to avoid that pass rush. So, I think the veterans, JPP Sue and Barrett and Golston, were saving up for the fourth quarter, and I think the Washington football team saw that, and so they said, okay, we're going to, because they totally shut them down in that one series. It was 3-and-out, and then like the next series after that, it was just the Redskins getting the ball, hiking and throwing it. They were just like, we were not going to let this pass rush get to us. So
that's good practice for the Saints.
I hope so.
Today.
Hope so. Let me see. Godwin had 5 dropped passes that I counted. And I had to note that the pass rush was pretty good, especially in the fourth quarter. So, it was just one of those games. We could have played better, but we played good enough to win. And, Brady was on point. If Godwin would have caught those 5 passes, this game wouldn't have even been close. I mean, he dropped one in the end zone. Brady dropped one in the end zone.
Hit it with his face.
Yeah, we made mistakes, both defense and offense, but we played well enough to beat them, and that made me happy.
I have two things, and they actually both have to do with Mike Evans. First of all, we talked about Tom Brady setting records the last time. Mike Evans also set a franchise record for postseason receiving yards at 122.
Nice. Yeah, he's been breaking all kinds of records this year, man. He's the top offensive player in Buccaneers history. How awesome is that?
Amazing, I know.
Yeah.
What happened with that pass where Mike just stuck his hand out?
He just stuck his hand? Yeah, I don't know.
Like he wasn't held, his other arm wasn't held?
Oh, I didn't even look at that.
Okay.
I didn't mark it down, so maybe I didn't.
Didn't notice.
I forgot to check on it. Oh, yeah. Speaking of penalties, they had quite a few penalties that were uncalled. We did too, but they definitely, if you watch the Tiffy video, the quarterback was false starting. I'm not exactly sure how many times I counted, but it was quite a bit, and it really pissed me off that the referees let him do that. They let Drew Brees do it too. He doesn't do it as much, but he does it when he's trying to get an offsides penalty. He'll dart his hands out real quick. I pointed that out in the videos too.
And it's explicit in the rules.
Very explicit, yeah.
It says you cannot move your hands out like you're about to hike the ball. That is a false start.
Yep. Yeah, and he did it twice in one play. He did it twice. He stuck his hands out, simulating a hike, and then he put his arms to the side, and then did it again, and then stuck his arms to the side, and then eventually hiked the ball. So, yeah, I've got 3. I got 8 times. 8 times he did it. It was just
they should have called it.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely should. Yeah, the refereeing in this was crap. But both teams were rather disciplined. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on, but the refs weren't calling anything. Now let's move to the Saints game. That really worries me about the Saints game. It might be my biggest concern is, they do a lot of cheating. I mean, they do a lot of holding and all that, and the refs are not calling it this year. So they're taking advantage of it. The first game we played them, they just tore us up with it. And they do the false starts. If you watch Drew Brees, he'll dart his hands forward or he'll nod his head, and then they've got this thing where I noticed this during the Chicago game. They did it to us. I want to say it was the left guard. It might have been the left tackle. Drew Brees will go into a hard count, and one of the offensive linemen on the left side will turn his head real quick, and it'll cause people to jump off sides. You're not allowed to do that. I don't know why it's not being called, but hey, whatever. That's one thing we have to really pay attention to is the ball. Let's watch the ball. Let's not pay attention to anything else. Let's watch the ball. When the ball gets snapped, that's when we go. The Saints are really, really good at getting people to get offsides. You remember O.J. Howard?
No, who's that?
He was on this team at the beginning of the year. We had him week 1 against them. We lost him week 4 against the Chargers. I totally forgot he was on this team.
No.
My point being is that we're a totally different team now than we were even when we played them in week 9. Definitely in week 1, we had more of the vertical offense going. The receivers were not on the same page a lot with Tom Brady. We had O.J. Howard in there. Gronk was, he was still learning everything. We're a totally different team. I think that even in week 9, Antonio Brown, that was his first game. It was week 9 against the Saints. So, they haven't played us with all of our receivers healthy and Antonio Brown in there and all of them on the same page. There was a couple of miscommunications in the last game that kind of worried me with the receivers and Tom Brady. So hopefully we won't have any of that. Hopefully it'll be boom, boom. But what we're doing now is we're doing a lot more of Tom Brady's plays, his bread and butter, those slants and crosses and quick passes over the middle. We're doing a lot more of that, and we're getting a lot more yards after the catch, which is great. That's Tom Brady's bread and butter. He's just so accurate with hitting these guys on the run. So we're doing a lot more of that. The Saints haven't seen that, where they're used to these vertical passes from us. And they can't stop the vertical passes anyhow. And we don't have to worry about the vertical passes from the Saints. They might get 2, maybe 3, deep balls. But, we're going to throw 15.
Well, and they're better at yards after the catch, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Scott Smith reported in his preview, Kamara has 756 receiving yards during the regular season, and 731 came after the catch.
Damn.
So a vast majority. And then, Deontay Harris, he's similar. Like, he's so fast that he had a lot of success against the Bears when he came back. And that's what BA said, was that he's more concerned with Deontay Harris than he is with Michael Thomas, because Deontay Harris is just so fast. And of course, he's their returner too, which we struggled with him. The first, was it the first matchup or the second?
First.
Probably both.
Yeah, probably both. Yeah.
But he really killed us the one game. Okay, what do you think about the run game and trying to control the Saints by running the ball? This actually came from a YouTube listener.
Controlling the Saints from running the ball?
No.
Us.
Yes, us running the ball.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see us, keep Drew Brees off the field and us just pound it down the field. We could have done that with the Washington football team. Unfortunately, Arians just ain't going to do it. He's not going to do it. He is a pass-first, pass-heavy guy, and, that's his thing. He just loves it. The running the football is almost an afterthought with them. It would be nice, because we could have done that with Fournette. We could have just ran the ball, and we would have won that game. But we don't do it. We never do it. Last time we played the Saints, what did we have? 6 rushing attempts?
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
Was that the one where we had the fewest?
Yeah, we tied for the fewest in
6.
NFL history or some crap like that. I want to say we had 3, but Tom Brady, I think, scrambled a couple times. But, I'd love to see it. Yeah, I'd love to see it. I think we could win the game if we did that. Just run the ball, go deep.
Yeah.
Run the ball, routes across the middle, run the ball. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to do it. It's going to be a shootout.
Bruce Arians said that Ronald Jones will be a game time decision. It's 2:30 now, so it might have already come out. I haven't been on Twitter, but that Leonard Fournette was going to get the start today. And, of course, the Saints run stopping is really good. They're 4th in 2020, both in terms of yards allowed per game. They allowed 93.9, and then yards allowed per carry was 3.85. But, the Washington football team, they're good run stoppers too.
Yeah.
And so
I think they were 2nd in the league, right?
I think so. And so I'm encouraged by what you said with our run blocking last week, that it was pretty successful against them.
It was freaking awesome. I mean, they were opening up holes that I could have picked up 10 yards from. If Taysom Hill does not play, that's going to be a big help to us, because he really hurt us in Week 9.
Yeah, they're saying today it came out that he's probably not going to play.
Yeah. He pretty much beat us in Week 9, with those runs. Yeah, between that and the holding. But them not having him is going to help us greatly. Ali Marpet was out Week 9 against the Saints.
Oh, really?
Yes, Haig replaced him.
So they've...
And Haig did not play so well.
Oh, no. What was that with Ali?
I can't remember.
I can't either.
Yeah.
Oh, concussion. He had a concussion.
Concussion. That's right. That's right. We had 2 interceptions against Breeze. I think it was Week 1, right?
Where Tom Brady threw 2? Or
no,
oh no, we
got
picked him off.
2 interceptions. Okay. I'd like to see that again. I think ball possession is going to be huge in this game. We'll get to that in a second about what we think is going to be the keys to the game.
Yeah.
For this game, Aaron Steiney's going to be playing right. Stinney?
Yeah.
He's going to be playing right guard. Now, how did he do in Week 16 against the Lions? He came in at halftime for Ali Marpet. So he was at left guard. He did good. He played well, but the opponent wasn't that great. And he only played 95 snaps. Of those 95 snaps, he had one bad play. That's great. But again, that was left guard and going up against the Detroit Lions. So, and plus it was garbage time. We were up at like 40 points at that point. So there's really no telling how he's going to be at right guard. It kind of worries me because you got Wirfs and Steiney. They're both young guys. Stinney. Jensen's going to really have to keep an eye on them. And Wirfs I'm not worried about, but that right guard position, is going to need help. And hopefully Wirfs will, keep an eye on him, and Jensen, hopefully he'll keep an eye on him. It does worry me because, coming up through the middle that's how you beat Brady.
Yeah. And the Saints got 5 of the 21 sacks that we've allowed this season.
Yeah. And they did it a lot through that A gap blitzing.
Yeah.
And A and B gap. They would run two blitzers through the B gap or the A gap, depending. But they would run them right behind each other. And it was really hard to block. So, they're going to come up with some interesting things. I doubt if they'll do that again. They might try it a little bit, but, you want to attack Brady straight up the middle because, he's not a mobile quarterback. And if he sees you coming, he's just going to take the loss.
Yeah.
He's not going to try to get out of the way. And if you come at him from the sides or whatever, he'll scramble around in the pocket. But if you come up straight through the middle, he's just going to tuck the ball and, kind of sit on it.
Scott Smith pointed out how statistically similar we are to the Saints. So
Yeah, we're. Yeah.
We scored the 3rd most points in the league and had the 8th best scoring defense. The Saints have the 5th ranked scoring offense and the 6th ranked scoring defense, so we're close there, both sides of the ball. We are 1st in the league in rushing defense. The Saints are 4th. New Orleans had the 6th best pass rush. As far as sacks per pass play, the Bucs were 7th, so we're right there with them. And then we were 5th, or the Saints were 5th in red zone touchdown efficiency. We were 7th.
Yeah.
So super close in a lot of metrics.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they have refs on their side. Not in the sense that the refs want them to win or whatever, but the refs are being very strange this year, especially with holding. They're just not calling it a lot, and the Saints have taken advantage of that. And I do think that the Saints are a little scared of this. I mean, the refs are a little scared of the Saints. After a few years ago when they blew that big call in the championship.
Oh, yeah, the pass interference.
And everybody freaked out. Everybody's been kind of reffing the Saints with kids' gloves. So we're going to have to deal with that. We're not just going to be playing the Saints. We're going to be playing the refs too. And that sucks. Big thing, quarterback receiver miscommunication on defense, blown coverage, dropped passes, poor tackling, and bad officiating. Those cost us the game in Week 9. I do not think that the Saints beat us so much as we beat ourselves because of those things. We did have a lot of breakdown in miscommunication between wide receiver and quarterback, as well as the defense in the secondary. We had a lot of blown coverage. We had dropped passes. We had poor tackling. Those are all things that we did. They didn't do that. We did that. And then there's the bad officiating. Bad officiating, there's nothing we can do about that. Our tackling has gotten a little bit better. Quarterback-receiver communication has gotten a lot better. Defensive communication has been pretty good. We're not doing a whole lot of blown coverage. Dropped passes. Last week scared me with my boy Godwin. Yeah. But like you said, it's probably the gloves.
Yeah.
But one of the big things was their average drive start. They started on the 44 was their average drive start. Ours was the 20. That's 24-yard difference. And I'm not a big stat guy. That doesn't really tell you a whole lot, but it was huge. Of the 11 possessions by both teams, we had 9 starts that started on our 25 or less. They had 3. That's a huge, huge difference. Our special teams has got to step up, man. They can't. Their special teams is really good, especially on kicks and punts. They got that Dante guy. What's his name? Deontay Harris. Yeah, he's fast. And they block and they tackle. So we've got to step it up. I'm worried that special teams might end up being the difference in this game. If you ask me, this is going to be a very, very close game. It's most likely going to end up in a shootout. And little things are going to matter. Possessions are going to matter. Turnovers are going to matter. Penalties are going to matter. And I think, unfortunately, special teams is going to matter. I think we match up well, the defense and offense, both sides. But I think that, if we play our game, get our communication well, our tackling well, receivers catch the ball, they ain't going to be able to stop us on offense. We're just going to, we're going to score at will. They take a little bit longer to score than we do. So I think that, us banging out scores, hitting big plays, pounding the ball in the running game, if we do that, and lopside the possession a little bit, then I think we can win it. But it's going to be close. We're not going to blow them out. They're not going to blow us out. I'm thinking 1, 2, maybe 3 point difference in this game.
You mentioned the turnovers. Scott Smith broke that down. It was pretty crazy. We were +8 in turnover ratio in 2020, so we ranked 6th. And the Saints were +9, so they were tied for 3rd. But in our matchups, the Bucs were -4 in the turnover ratio, and there were 31 points scored off of turnovers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
a huge
can't do that.
difference. Exactly. Yeah. And since we played New Orleans in Week 9, we've only committed 7 turnovers in 8 games. And we only had 2 in the last 5. So ball security has been we've turned it around there, I think.
Yeah. And, penalties, we've damn near cut them out totally. We're a different team than we were Week 1, definitely, for sure. They got lucky playing us Week 1. Week 9, definitely a different team, coming into town today. We're a much better, much more disciplined football team.
I think it's going to come down to field position, which really screwed us the first couple games, and especially off of the turnovers, and tackling. Kamara is hard to bring down. He's a strong back and he's agile, and so I think our linebackers need to be on their P's and Q's. They've got to. And, Deontay Harris, too. Someone who's fast like that, it's easy to overshoot.
Or shifty, these shifty guys.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would like to see some sure tackling and, minimize those turnovers. I think those are going to be – it's the little things in these games, a turnover is kind of a field position, a little thing, and they all just add up. So I think if we can excel in those areas, it's really going to give us an edge. And I think what you said, it's going to be more of a shootout than it was the last match, especially with our receivers all clicking and, Tom Brady, everybody's on the same page for the most part. And I think in general, we need to stay focused, collected, so not getting baited by these mouthy, chippy guys. And I think Tom Brady is really going to be pivotal in this, acting as the field general that he is. I think he really has to, like he always does, have control of everybody, keep everybody on the same page, focused. I liked in the mic'd up that I saw of him in the Washington game. It was really good, but it was interesting. It gave you a sense of how he is on the field. And in general, when I see like interviews with him or press conferences, like he's kind of goofy and a little bit weird and stuff. But when he's on that field, he is just a commander, and he is really, I think, relatable to the other guys. And he just, it's just a totally different person. You can totally tell that that's just his element. So it was good to see, and I'm looking forward to it. This game, I think it'll make a huge, huge difference. I do have some.
Yeah, I'm predicting that Antonio Brown's going to have a huge game.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. Yeah, and I'm wondering, like, the Saints haven't really had to deal with him, although he's been on his P's and Q's. Mm-hmm. I would like to see him just quietly, like, torch them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Because he is kind of obnoxious, like... His Super Bowl or his touchdown dances are funny. Well, first of all, he's always like on his knees and he's like, oh, that's his celebration. But I've seen some funny ones from when he was back in Pittsburgh, like twerking and stuff. So I'd like to see him do that in the Saints' face.
Yeah, and the Saints have been playing Godwin and Evans for years now, and they know how to play them. They don't know how to play Antonio Brown, and
That's
Antonio
true.
Brown is a totally different player than those two. Those two run their routes. They're big. They're strong. And, you know, they don't really try to shake guys. They're not putting moves on people and everything. They're just going to run their route and, you know, expect to beat you catching the ball and then beat you after they catch the ball. Antonio Brown, now, he puts moves on out there. He did a couple times against the Washington football team where, he actually, you know, juked guys out of their shoes. And it was nice to see. There was one where he was open for a touchdown, but Brady had already thrown the ball. You know, he was already looking the other way and, you know, in his throwing motion, and Antonio Brown juked the guy out, and the guy was he was 3 yards past the guy, you know, and screaming down the field. And it was a beautiful move, and you know the Saints they're not used to that from us, you know. So I think hopefully we can exploit that.
Yeah, that's another element because we're so familiar with each other already.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. This will be the first NFL postseason game ever featuring 2 starting quarterbacks in their 40s. The first geriatric playoff game.
The geriatric bowl. Sponsored by the AARP.
Yeah. Ben Gay.
Or Metamucil. Or Depends.
Well, Lamar Jackson's performance could probably be sponsored by Depends.
Ooh. Damn. You went there, didn't you?
I did. Okay. The Saints backup center, Will Clapp, tested positive for COVID the other day, and so he's out on Sunday. But contact tracing identified no high-risk close contacts.
Yeah.
So that was from Tom Pelissero. Other news around the division, former Falcons head coach Dan Quinn was hired by the Dallas Cowboys to serve as defensive coordinator.
Wow, man, they are just stacking up over there in the Cowboys, aren't they?
I know.
Ugh.
Yeah. And then the Falcons have announced the hiring of Tennessee offensive coordinator Arthur Smith as their new head coach. So they're going from a defensive mind to an offensive mind. I wonder what it means for Raheem, Dirk Cutter. They're all gone, I'm sure.
Yeah. Raheem is being looked at by, oh, man, who? There was the Jacksonville Jaguars has defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah. Urban Meyers has already contacted him.
Oh, interesting. Okay. The Eagles requested an interview with Todd Bowles. So we'll see about that.
I get the impression that these teams are just doing this for the Rooney Rule. None of them seem serious about Todd Bowles. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, if you're going to question, you know, bring Todd Bowles as an interview and then you're going to hire the offensive coordinator for Tennessee, it's like, why'd you even bring a defensive coordinator in?
Yeah,
you know, like,
that's true. It seems like they were going in the total opposite direction.
Yeah, they went total opposite direction.
The Lions had an interview with Todd Bowles scheduled, and then both parties agreed to cancel the interview because tight ends coach Dan Campbell with the Saints is emerging as the front runner. So that was another one.
Tight ends coach for the Saints?
Yeah. Remember when I can't remember who, I think Philbin was fired in Miami, and I can't remember what he was at the time, but he was like a young guy, one of the coordinators. I want to say the offensive coordinator, Dan Campbell, filled in as interim head coach in Miami.
The NFL is so biased towards offensive coordinators. You know, you hear about offensive coordinators getting head coaching jobs, even, you know, like tight end coaches, wide receiver coaches, but you never hear secondary coaches or defensive back coaches or linebacker coaches or defensive line coaches getting head coaching jobs ever. You know, maybe a defensive coordinator might get a head coach job. But.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Todd Bowles, Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just depends. I think, like, whatever the prior regime in a team was, they just go the opposite way.
Opposite direction, yeah.
Yeah. We signed Earl Watford, offensive lineman, who was with us last year. We signed him, and we put Alex Kappa on IR. No surprise there.
Yeah.
And then we have 4 protected practice squad players this week. It is linebacker Dayon Buchanan, Greg Joseph, guard Ted Larson, which I guess he's back on the practice squad, and then Herb Miller, cornerback. And then the last little bit of news, which I thought was interesting. He said, Bruce Arians said that Tom Brady's trainer, Alex Guerrero, has been a consultant for the Bucs this season and has worked with several players in their rehab and recovery process. And Arians also said that his wife, Chris, had used the TB12 method for her knee as well. Or she had been to TB12. And I think that Mike Evans said that the TB12 method helped his knee as well. So it's a total turnaround from when Tom was at the Patriots. And of course, they kicked Alex Guerrero out of the facility because he was helping other players in the facility and they didn't want him to. So it's a huge turnaround as far as that goes. I just thought it was interesting. We had talked about it in the off season.
Yes. Yeah. It was funny. We talked about it, and it's like the Buccaneers media. It's almost like they still don't know who this guy is, but he's a huge part of Tom Brady's life. And most people speculate that's the reason why he left the Patriots, is because they wouldn't let it's his business partner too. It wouldn't let him be involved with the locker room anymore. They actually kicked him out of the facility. And so when he came here to Tampa, I'm sure that was part of the thing. It was like, hey, I want to bring my guy in and all this good stuff. And, you know, Bruce Arians was like, we don't care.
Yeah,
whatever.
Who cares? Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, I've got the injury report, and then I am ready to wrap it up. How about you?
Okay.
You got any more?
Nope.
Okay. On the Bucs side, Jeremiah Ledbetter, with his calf injury, has not participated all week. He has been ruled out. Andrew Adams, it was not injury related. He was out Thursday and Friday and is questionable. Ronald Jones did not participate Wednesday. He returned in a limited capacity Thursday and Friday. He is questionable, as I said. Jordan Whitehead sustained a knee injury in practice, it looks like. He was fine Wednesday and Thursday, popped up on the injury report on Friday, and he is questionable. Carlton Davis has a groin injury. He was limited Wednesday and Thursday, but was a full participant on Friday. Mike Evans with the knee injury, he was limited all week. He's got no injury designation. Chris Godwin has a hip and a quad injury. Yeah, it says hip. And he was limited Wednesday and Thursday, did not participate Friday, probably a rest day because he has no designation. Ali Marpet popped up on Friday on the injury report with a pectoral injury, but was a full participant on Friday. LaShawn McCoy, he was ill, but was a full participant all week. JPP, with his knee injury, he did not participate all week, but no injury designation. And then Ndamukong Suh had his Veterans Day off on Friday, no injury designation there. On the Saints side, and we got a long list. The Saints don't hardly have anybody. They got 6 people. Their cornerback, Patrick Robinson, has a hamstring injury, did not participate all week, and is out. Taysom Hill has a knee injury. He didn't participate Wednesday and Thursday. He was limited Friday, and of course we're hearing today he's probably not going to play. We will see. Running back Latavius Murray had a quad injury. He did not participate Wednesday and Thursday, was limited Friday, and is questionable. Tackle Taron Armstead has an elbow injury. He was limited Wednesday and Thursday, but a full participant on Friday. Tight end Jared Cook has a back injury. He was also limited Wednesday and Thursday, and a full participant on Friday. And then defensive end Trey Hendrickson has a neck injury. He was limited Wednesday and Thursday, but a full participant on Friday. So the only one it looks like, well, for sure they're going to miss Patrick Robinson, but probably also Taysom Hill.
All right, so what do you think? Give our predictions, and let's get out of here and start watching some football.
Okay, the Saints only put up 21 against the Bears. So I'm going a little more optimistic. I'm just going to say I think the Bucs are going to win. Let's take the Bucs.
Yeah.
Homer. I'm a homer completely. I'm going to go with Saints 23, Bucs 28.
Damn, okay. I'm going to go with Bucs 32, the Saints 31.
All right.
I think that's going to be it.
All right.
We got it, guys. We got it. Here we go. We win this. We are NFC Championship bound.
What?
We'll be playing the Packers at Lambeau Field. That's a scary thought in itself, but hey, we beat the mess out of the Packers early in the year when we weren't that good.
And we're better.
When we lost Vita Vea, that was the first game without Vita. We still, was it? Anyhow, yeah. So we'll be playing the Packers, but hey, we can't look that far ahead. We got to beat this game, beat this team. One of the big things I worry about is the coaching. I do think their coaching staff does have an edge on our coaching staff. Unfortunately, they come up with trickier plays. They do more in-game adjustment, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. So, that's going to be an edge they'll have, but, come on, let's do this. Let's do this. We got it. Everybody get the positive energy out there. Bucs are going to win. Bucs are going to win. All right. That's going to wrap it up for us, guys. Get excited. Here we go. Till next time.
Go Bucs.